Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto Naruto Next Generations discussion. And today, I want to talk to you guys about a major death in Boruto's manga that needs to happen, and also drop the reminder that Sasuke Retsuden Chapter 2 will be out later today. That video is off to the editor right now, and the review will be up later today, so keep notifications turned on. Anyway, we've been told by Momoshiki that the day where Boruto will lose everything is finally close at hand, and Momoshiki keeps popping up outside of Boruto every 2 seconds because the man wants a front row seat to watch Boruto suffer, and it's for that reason I wanted to give you guys 5 reasons why Konohamaru Sarutobi needs to be the person who dies first, or at least dies in front of Boruto when or if Code pulls up in Konoha with this Ten Tails army. Just to be clear, this is not going to be a video dunking on Konohamaru. I know that's the fandom's favorite pastime. I know I've memed on him in the thumbnail and in a video from a few days ago, but this is not going to be a video dunking on Konohamaru. We're going to have a serious discussion on why it makes sense to rip off the band-aid and kill Konohamaru off, because Konohamaru at this point has been called trash so much that it's overkill. So we're not going to waste time beating on a dead horse here. If anything, the fact that Konohamaru is even being suggested to be killed off means that this character at the very least has done enough in its extremely limited number of appearances between Naruto's manga and here in Boruto's manga to be able to have enough of an impact on the story if he were to be killed off. Killing Konohamaru isn't the same as killing some random Anbu or Joni who try to stop someone from coming in the village. And if you think that, this video should change your mind and explain to you guys why you're wrong, because in a lot of ways the death of Konohamaru can actually elevate his character from being viewed as mediocre by most New Gen fans to being a character who holds the rank and title as being one of the biggest heartbreaks in the series due to what his death represents. That being said, Konohamaru doesn't necessarily need these 5 reasons to be elevated in rank, because if he wanted to gain more respect, all he would have to do is visit established titles, and he could get the title Lord Konohamaru if that was anything he was dead set on. Established titles is a fun and novel way to preserve the natural woodlands of Scotland while helping with global reforestation efforts. It's a project based in historic Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as lairds or lords and ladies in English. With established titles, you get at least 1 square foot of dedicated land on a private estate in Edelston, Scotland, and an official certificate with the crest, which has a unique plot number to show you your land. Established titles plants a tree with every order they receive and work with charities like One Tree Planet and Trees for the Future to support global reforestation efforts. Just as Naruto gets to call himself Lord Hokage, you can officially call yourself Lord or Lady, which now that I have this certificate calling me a lord, it's going to be on my desk, and everybody who comes to my office has to call me the Lord. And you can get it on your credit card or your plane tickets, or you sussy bakas can even use it on your dating profiles. If you go for the romantic route, you can also purchase the couples pack, which comes with adjoining plots of land. The first 200 people purchasing the title pack using my link will effectively be next to my plot within a few minutes of walking distance from it. Depending on how many of you guys want to become a lord or a lady, we can build our own little Naruto Explained kingdom. My late grandmother, who just passed away, not only loved flowers but also trees as well, so I'm gonna purchase one to honor my late grandmother. It makes an amazing last minute gift. Established Titles is actually running an early Black Friday sale, plus if you use the promo code EXPLAIN, you get an additional 10% off. Go to establishedtitles.com/explain to get your gift and help support the channel. Thank you again to Established Titles for sponsoring today's video. So starting off with reason number 1, Konohamaru's death needs to happen because it's a great bookend for Boruto Part 1 as we move into Boruto Part 2. It's important to remember that Part 1 of Boruto was, by Boruto's own words, the story of father and son. Konohamaru is a character who both Naruto and Boruto have known through childhood. There are stronger connections there beneath the surface. Naruto at age 12 taught Konohamaru well enough that Konohamaru's mindset changed, and it put him onto the road to be the ninja that he would one day become, and he inspired him one day to become a rival for the Hokage position. At age 13, Naruto acknowledged him enough to teach Konohamaru the Rasengan, which, as a reminder, in the manga, Naruto is 13 when he taught Konohamaru, and not 16 like the anime showed you, which is reason number 980. I say read Naruto's manga if you're only familiar with the anime version of the story. Boruto has known Konohamaru well enough to the point where he calls him Big Brother, but most importantly, Konohamaru is someone someone who was once a student under Naruto and is now the sensei to Naruto's child. It's something that the light novel and in the Boruto movie data book, we know Konohamaru does not take that lightly and is proud of the honor to teach the child of the Hokage. Killing Konohamaru is a blow that strikes home for both Naruto and Boruto. For Naruto, it's another reminder that he's Hokage now, but he doesn't have the power to stop the threat that's coming towards his village now that he's lost Kurama, and he's failed the person who in chronological order in the manga was shown to be his first rival, which, as another reminder, Konohamaru debuted in Naruto's manga as Naruto's rival before Sasuke was ever drawn for the manga. For Boruto, losing his first sensei and someone he grew up seeing throughout his childhood, that will be the first real loss that he's endured that hits close to home in Boruto's manga, because in the manga he hasn't suffered a loss like that yet. And while it's not enough to have Boruto give up control to Momoshiki, it's enough to start instilling that fear into him that Momoshiki was not playing around. Number 2, Konohamaru's death would do what Naruto's manga accomplished more than once, which is take a character who has dreams and kill them off before those dreams can be fulfilled. It's a common tactic used for both minor characters like Tsunade's lover Dan to her younger brother Nawaki, both of whom died before reaching the goal of being Hokage, and more subtle examples of unfulfilled dreams and desires in the form of Asuma, who died before raising his team into true shinobi and being able to raise his daughter Mirai, with this dying words being requests to Shikamaru to raise that child into a brilliant shinobi, to the crushing reality of a mother and father in Kushina and Minato, who went from the highest of joys of being able to see their newborn son to realizing that they'll never get to shower that child with love and had to cram a whole lifetime of love into a few sentences before they died. You have more in-your-face dreams being shattered, like Orochimaru not being able to obtain the body of an Uchiha before he was killed originally, or Jiraiya's death prevented Naruto from having Jiraiya see him become Hokage one day like Naruto once dreamed. Dreams, more than once in Naruto's manga as well as cruelly in our own world, tend to go unfulfilled once a life is cut short. Konohamaru's dream was not only to become the Hokage, but it was also to fight and defeat Naruto one day for the title of Hokage. Those are the circumstances under which Konohamaru wanted to be the Hokage. While no one expects Konohamaru to beat Naruto in a fight, the fact remains that his dream would be cut short. He has no children, but he has the dream of an 8-year-old child who wanted to be Hokage one day, and he would be leaving with the same regret that his uncle Asuma had of not being able to fully steer his team into being true shinobi. That's not to say Team 7's not talented. That's not to say they haven't surpassed Konohamaru in power, because both of those things are true, but there's more to being a shinobi than just talent and power. Number 3, Konohamaru will be the first character to fall victim to what Naruto creator Masashi Kishimoto said would happen in Boruto's manga, which is that any character from Naruto's generation, even Naruto himself, can be killed off if it's needed to advance the story in a meaningful way, which, as I've said before, a good writer knows when to kill his darlings off, much like how Stephen King wrote in his book on writing. Kill your darlings even when you as the writer are attached to an idea or attached to characters, or you know your audience is in love with a character or an idea. Don't be afraid to kill your darlings in order to shake up the world that you created and force new character interactions and events that wouldn't have happened under normal circumstances. For Konohamaru, him dying would send a bit of a shockwave through members of his generation, in particular Naruto's age group, because for as talented of a shinobi as he is, Konohamaru is still someone who never got the chance to prove himself to the older members of his generation, who got to fight against the Akatsuki or fight in the 4th Great Ninja War. He's that younger brother to this generation who you knew was following in your path, and you knew this character had promise, but they were never able to break out of that big shadow that you cast as the older sibling, which brings me to point number 4. For point number 4, we're going to have a Weltsmerch situation. Now, long-term viewers have heard me use this term quite a bit before, but newer viewers likely have not. So what I mean by a Weltsmerch situation is that it's a moment where something tragic happens in the story that causes people to immediately push back and begin to ask what if or bargain with the story itself. How many of you guys heard me say Konohamaru wasn't given the opportunity to truly prove himself yet and hasn't had that one defining moment for his character like the other people in his generation? How many of you heard that and said, well, that's just not right, or he shouldn't be killed off until he gets that moment, or you came up with conditions on how, if Konohamaru does die, what needs to happen for you to accept it. Congratulations. Those are the exact same feelings that an author wants you to feel when they write a well-smirched situation. Think how many times you've asked yourself, how can Sasuke get his Rinnegan back? Or how Sasuke could have avoided the Rinnegan from being destroyed, which I've blown up that whole argument in another video on this channel, including directly addressing the TikTok video with the fan animation showing Sasuke avoiding the Rinnegan be destroyed. But back to the video itself, how many of you guys came up with 900 different ways Kurama can come back to life, or how Kurama is secretly still alive? Those are the feelings of a well-smirched situation being written by the author. If your audience feels like they were robbed of something in particular they felt had more value to offer, it's a well-smirch. It's an intentional decision by an author. Konohamaru dying could capture this very thinking, skating by mostly off the development that he had in Naruto's manga, albeit most of the development he had in Naruto's manga he was used for comedy reasons outside the pain fight, but there's enough there to where this could work. Now for reason number 5, we've got to address the huge elephant in the room, which is the thumbnail. Konohamaru needs to be put out of his misery. Just gonna go ahead and say it. The guy so far in the manga hasn't done so much of anything. His bright and shining moment was getting cooked over an open grill by Kashi and Koji. Extra well done with Chef Koji adding that extra season to make those Konohamaru burgers pop. As a character, one could argue he outlived his purpose. If we suddenly have Konohamaru power up from being an elite Jonin tier power to being in the 6 paths tier power with characters like God Tree Absorbed, One Eye Madara, Last Era Naruto, people would cry utter bullshit. There isn't a believable way to push him forward, so he might as well follow the tradition of the Sarutobi, which is we've had people in 2 generations for the Sarutobi die to protect the village. Hiruzen died to protect the village, Asuma died to protect the village. Even if he's overmatched, he's at least going to be going out in a respectable way, which is fitting of his clan given how his uncle and his grandfather died. That being said, I want to know, what are your reasons to kill Konohamaru, or if you want to keep Konohamaru alive, let me know those reasons down in the comment section. Who from Naruto's generation should be the first to die since Neji Hyuga died in the war arc? While you think that over, click here to check out my Black Clover 343 review.